Hey everyone, GamerJlee here, and welcome back to another video. And this week we are doing kind of another simple talking head kind of video. So if you guys want to just minimize this and listen to what I have to say, hey, go right ahead, because this is going to be a little bit of catching up with things going on, as well as maybe talking about a subject that I know a lot of people feel 50-50 about. So let's get right into it. And I guess we'll start off by talking about the fact that 343 Industries are back in the studio. Just the other day, they came out with a post basically explaining that they're all coming back from vacation. They're back from holiday paid vacation, and they're getting underway with updates and new content coming to Halo Infinite, including finally fixing Big Team Battle, which has been broken, may I add, for nearly over a month. I know that people are saying that some people can get into it. I know that some people are saying that they can't get into it, but nonetheless, it is broken. And I have to say this and make this perfectly clear. If I was someone working at a studio and I was a part of this, I would not be going on vacation if one of the major features was entirely unplayable for nearly a month. I know that a lot of the Microsoft employees and 343 employees wait and save their paid vacation time for the end of the year at December time, when everything is kind of, you know, wrapping up. Especially, they probably took it right after the launch on December 8th. They decided to start there, and we're now seeing them come back right around December 8th. So it kind of makes sense, that kind of time frame, but nonetheless, it doesn't seem cool that they kind of left this to a skeleton crew. And that's kind of actually the truth. Sketch actually says this in his post, that they've had a skeleton crew looking into this, and they're looking positive towards this having a actual fix relatively soon. Another thing that's being discussed is the desync issue. That's also underway, and that's something that they're looking into quite frequently, and also might have a fix very soon. Fingers crossed, because in ranked, it's unbearable and it's frustrating. And I'm not gonna lie, I love playing competitive. I love being competitive, but whenever I'm getting killed from around corners and so on and so forth, I literally want to take my fist and jam it through my keyboard and my monitor. You have no idea how frustrating that truly is. Now, the third part is that they are talking about adjusting the Mangler. Now, this has been a point of contention. A lot of people in the community think it needs to be adjusted. A lot of people in the community don't think it needs to be adjusted. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't see the major issue with it, but I can also understand people's points whenever it comes to being two-pieced, where they shoot you once and then melee. Now, here's kind of my standpoint on this. The Mangler is basically the Mauler, but with range. And all it is that you just two-piece people just like you did in Halo 3. You shoot them once and you melee. That's how it was in Halo 3. I can understand that being frustrating, but basically adjusting for movement, it should be relatively avoidable. Now, I've seen arguments that this isn't avoidable, that's harder than you think. What it really comes down to, in my opinion, and this is something I've seen players lose unless they're official pros or something, is player awareness. When you're that close to someone, you have to be able to identify what they have in their hand. And I used to be able to do this. I'm not very good at it now, but I used to be able to identify if someone had a shotgun, or they had a sword on their hip and they're about to switch it out on me, or a Mangler or Mauler or whatever. I used to be great at this, and I'm not anymore. But I can understand that frustration, but at the same time, I don't really think it needs to be adjusted that much. I think maybe adjust the damage just slightly on the actual fire of the weapon, but melee wise, bladed weapons have always done more damage. Are we really wanting to take away that ability of having, you know, this unique thing to this weapon, instead just make everyone's melee basic and boring? I don't know. But let's get into our weekly ritual before we get into today's topic, and let's see what the store has to offer. Boom, there we go. This actually comes from a Twitter account called Update Halo, where they share the daily and weekly updates to the Halo Infinite in-game store. And this is someone who I actually have notifications on to just see what's gonna happen. Sometimes whenever it takes me a little while to get a video, I usually have them on notifications, so that way I can get a heads up to see how much of a shit show the store is going to be before I talk about it. But this is actually something that we've all seen before. All these items that you're seeing here, we've seen them before in the store. Not much I can say on this. The only thing I can really point out is the Halo Legends bundle with the daisy chain and stuff like that. Me personally, I like it because Halo Legends was something I was absolutely in love with whenever that OVA came out. And if you're a fan of that OVA, that's what it's from. That's from Halo Legends. If you're interested in it, go ahead and pick it up. But everything else here, kind of hit or miss in my opinion. But the subject of today's video actually comes from a video I made a little over 2 weeks ago, where I talked about the cat ears coming to Halo Infinite and triggering the Halo Infinite player base. And this is actually a comment that I've been kind of sitting on and trying to really dissect in my mind. But Chase F writes this: I hope they had the option to keep the classic Halo look, kind of like MCC did with Halo 3, where it filters out all the odd looking stuff. Now, this to me is kind of a comment that doesn't quite understand the original purpose of the toggle. And I think that's what he's recommending here, is that they add a toggle to Halo Infinite. And I'm just going to say this right now, that's not going to work, pal. The reason why it worked with the MCC and why it even happened in the MCC is because MCC is kind of considered a time capsule in a way now. It's basically as close as we're going to get to legacy now that as of the time of this recording, the original 360 games are officially going offline on the 13th in just a couple of days. And sadly, that sucks. It sucks that we're not going to be able to experience these games online with our friends anymore. And you know, some people would say that those games do not perform nearly as well as they used to. They don't hold up. And in some aspects I can see that, but at the same time, it would be nice to keep those, especially when you really think about the cost of keeping those servers online when they're not dedicated servers or anything like that. So it's kind of a sad state that they're shutting them down in just a couple of days. But when it came to the Master Chief Collection, I believe that they added the toggle after the announcement that they were going to be going ahead with shutting down the legacy servers, and made the decision to do so to keep that legacy feel. Now, there was a lot of people that were upset and whinging over the idea of having these cosmetics and seeing these cosmetics when they wanted to be a pure classic feel to the Master Chief Collection. And that brings us back to Halo Infinite. And I have to say this, for people that are holding their breath thinking that they're going to get a toggle in Halo Infinite, it ain't gonna happen. The MCC and Halo Infinite are two entirely different projects. The Master Chief Collection is a collection of old games where they added new cosmetics and added a toggle for the people that wanted it to be as close as legacy as possible. When it comes to Halo Infinite, this is a new title. What is in this game is not going away. And what's funny about this whole thing is that I've seen multiple people bring up this idea of adding a toggle to Infinite to hide the cringe or hide the odd stuff that doesn't fit in Halo. And to me, I'm kind of rolling my eyes even as a classic fan, because I know the reality of the situation. When it comes to Infinite, they're going to add things that people will like and people will not like. They're going to add things that people are going to buy. A lot of people found the Halo Legends bundle, and the one that's back in the store this week, to be cringe or odd or out of place. And as someone who knows the extended lore and the meaning behind these items, it's not, because I know that this is actually a part of the Halo canon. This is actually a part of the story of Halo, and to me this is fitting and it's cool and it's nice to have. But to most people, it's just weird teddy bear charm or the flower or whatnot. Just being totally honest, there doesn't need to be a toggle in Halo Infinite. And I think that if we did go down that route of adding a toggle, what would that even include? It's subjective on what's weird. It's subjective on what's odd. I mean, some people would probably consider the flame effects that we had back in the day of the flaming helmet or the flaming or the katana body piece or the Hayabusa armor to be weird or cringe or whatever. So what would we hide with a toggle for Halo Infinite? Like, would there be a drop down menu where you can select what's cringe to you? I mean, come on. And I get where people are coming from. You think that there's things in the store or cosmetics that I don't like that I see on a daily basis? Yeah, of course there is. Of course there's stuff that I think is weird and odd, but am I throwing a fit and saying, fix it with a toggle because I don't want to see it? No, because I know what this is supposed to be. And I know that people are going to get upset by that, and that, you know, we want it as close to legacy as possible. But unfortunately, that's not realistic, because this isn't a legacy Halo game. This is a modern Halo game that's going to have modern aspects, for the good and bad aspects of that. There are good things with Halo Infinite, and there is a lot of bad. Trust me, there's gonna be a lot of videos talking about the lack of content with this game in the near future, because one thing that gets brought up on a weekly basis is the store. The store is bad. The store is the problem. The store is one of the biggest issues in Halo Infinite, and I agree. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep talking about this and keep bringing it to 343's attention. But do you know what else is the problem? The lack of content. The lack of content for a game that's been in development for nearly 6 years. That's the thing that needs to be brought up right now, not whether a cosmetic is cringy or offends me. I mean, come the fuck on. And I hate to say that, I hate to be blunt about it, but it's true. When it comes to the cosmetics, that's not the biggest issue with this game, because the biggest issue is the legacy that it's going to leave whenever it comes to actually being fun. Right now, the population for Halo Infinite isn't dipping because there is cosmetics that we don't like to see and that we're offended by. It's dipping because the game has a lack of content, whether that's maps or modes or options or features. That is what is causing the game to die, and I don't think adding a toggle would fix that anytime soon. Those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comment section down below. I would love to actually have some conversations, and if you're someone who actually thinks that Halo Infinite needs a toggle, please give me a detailed explanation as to why and how you would implement that in a way that it would actually work. Let me know down in the comment section down below, and if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a like on it. If you dislike it, go ahead and drop a dislike on it. I know that last week was a little dry when it came to videos and we didn't have many posts, but don't worry, that's gonna be turning around very soon, because actually this past weekend I got to sit down with Kevin Cool and do a sit down interview where we talked about a number of things, including the current state of Halo, how he got started on his channel, how he deals with burnout, which I know that a lot of Halo content creators dealt with over the past couple of years, and much more. And that will be for the first ever episode of the Around the Ring podcast, which will be dropping sometime very soon. So make sure that you have those notifications on, because that will be coming in the near future. But in the meantime, there's probably some videos that are showing up on your screen right now, so go ahead and click one of them. Maybe it's the latest episode of the Cursed Halo playthrough that I did with my friend Hazop, or maybe it's a mystery. Maybe it's a video only you can see and that YouTube recommends from my channel. Go ahead, pick one or the other. But until next time, GamerJlee signing out.